The views expressed on this special broadcast of the Take 12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
A very scary experience.
You know, God is a solution. God, the 12 step.
I like where he's going here.
Helps the community grow, helps us grow. Monty has done a phenomenal job. Lack of open-mindedness. And you're talking about taking people through a spiritual process, getting them into recovery.
Thanks, Monty, and thanks for all your support.
We need spirituality to make this thing work long term.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
And now, broadcasting on location somewhere in the vast expanse of the Pacific Northwest, it's the over-opinionated 12-stepologist, the Monty'man.
That's right. Well, welcome aboard to the Good Ship Recovery. This is the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show,
Yes,
and
sir.
we are
Yes,
broadcasting.
sir.
Yes, we are. Right? Yes. Woo! Ow!
Come on, legendary Monty'man.
Jump up and down, spin around. Right?
Exactly.
All right. That is the voice of Jordon Thorn. And sitting next to him is his wife, Brandy. Hey, Brandy.
Yep.
Hi, how's it going?
Is he a crazy guy?
He's not as crazy as he says he is.
I'm really not. I'm not that crazy.
I know. I watch your Facebook.
Brandy's pretty, but she's crazy at the same time.
Oh.
He's colorful and entertaining.
Well, Brandy and Jordon Thorn are an interesting couple because you guys kind of met going through this whole recovery deal, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that here in a few minutes. There is a school of thought that says never get into a relationship with somebody that's in recovery. Right?
That's true.
Like if you go to an AA meeting, they'll say, "Oh, no, don't be dating somebody in the meeting."
Totally.
They call that 13th stepping sometimes.
Yeah.
Or don't be dating somebody that's dysfunctional when you're dysfunctional because you both have baggage and it's going to be a mess.
Exactly. Double the dysfunction.
Right?
2 bombs just waiting to go off.
Well, sometimes that's true. Sometimes God intervenes and amazing things happen.
Yeah.
That's true, too.
Right? So you really can't say never, that it never works, because sometimes it's a beautiful thing. So we're going to be talking about that, about you guys, how you met, a little bit about your story. But we like to have a little fun at the beginning of our show. And Cecil is a good friend of mine. I think we got something going on here.
Well, zippity-doo-dah and zippity-day. We've got some wonderful Take 12 trivia to play. Brought to you by that award-winning recovery magazine, the 12-Step Gazette. Visit their website at 12stepgazette.com. Now, Monty'man, go ahead and try and stump your guest so I can sit back and laugh at everybody, because I like to laugh at everybody.
Oh, boy. All right, Cecil, thank you. Yeah, Cecil lives in the computer. We're still not sure what Cecil is, if Cecil's a he or she or a what or whatever, but thank you, Cecil, very much for that introduction. So
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Cecil's cool. A little Take 12 trivia for you guys. It's totally useless.
Okay.
100% useless. Now, if you get it right, that's what you get. If you get it wrong, that's what you get.
Brandy does that a lot.
We call that our fluff machine. Our fluff machine.
Brandy fluffs. No.
Now, if you get them all right, so what? Who cares? You get nothing anyway.
Oh man,
Perfect.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Not an autograph.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Well, I autographed your books for you, so you got that.
Yeah, there you go.
It's on the inside. All right. Brandy, we'll start with you, and then we'll give Jordon a shot here, too. Okay, trivia question number 1. You get, let's see, 1, 2, 3. You get 4 and a bonus, all right?
All right.
Table tennis balls have been known to travel off the paddle at these speeds. Up to this speed, okay? Here's your choices. 25 miles per hour, 230 miles per hour, or 160 miles per hour.
160.
160? What do you think, Jordon?
25.
Jordon, I'm sorry.
Oh, the truth comes out.
160 is correct.
Yeah. She got that?
Yeah.
Did you know that already?
Now, can you imagine that? 160 miles an hour. You're playing table tennis in the garage. It's a deadly sport.
It is. Take an eye out.
Well, they have those table tennis balls that are really expensive, and they don't dent. You dent.
Oh yeah.
They're pretty tough. All right, here's number 2. Our eyes are always the same size from birth. But what never stops growing? Here are your choices. Our toes, our nose and ears, or our tummy. Brandy?
I'm going to say nose and ears.
What do you think, Jordon?
Same thing, nose and ears.
Yeah.
I actually talked to somebody about this recently.
You guys are right. You did?
Yeah, I did. I forget what the conversation was.
I was going to say, how'd that topic come up? You got a big nose. Let me tell you, if it's a little kid, little kids don't have a filter between brain and mouth.
Yeah.
They tell you like it is. So if a little kid tells you you got big ears, sorry.
You probably do.
Yeah.
You probably do. Yeah, you bet. All right, here's number 3. And we'll give you first crack at this one, Jordan.
Okay.
The electric chair was invented by, was it a dentist, an orthopedic surgeon, or a veterinarian?
A veterinarian.
Okay. What do you think, Brandy?
I think a dentist.
Come on.
Who's wrong?
Come on.
Who's wrong? Well, Brandy is not wrong.
Oh.
Dang.
Yeah.
She has an extra 7 years on me, so a little bit more knowledge than me.
A dentist. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of weird, like,
Yeah,
I don't know, people do weird stuff.
There's more creepy horror movies about dentists.
Right. That's exactly where I was going with that.
Any other medical profession. All right. Here's number 4. This is extremely poisonous. This is a drug addict one for you. Here you go. This is extremely poisonous if injected intravenously. Here are your choices. Mineral oil, nutmeg, or vinegar. What do you think, Brandy?
Nutmeg.
What do you think, Jordon?
Vinegar. Man.
Who's wrong? Jordon's wrong.
Oh. This is why I make a comeback. Watch.
All right. Here's your last chance. Ready?
Right.
So, Jordan, I'm going to give you first crack at it. The pound key on your keyboard, you know, the pound key looks like, right?
Yep.
Yeah, a little tic-tac-toe thing. All right. Is called, do you know what it's called?
Give me some options.
Okay, here's your options. An octograph, a spindograph, or a quadrograph?
Quadrograph?
Okay, what do you think, Brandy? Octograph, spindograph, or quadrograph?
I'm going to say the same thing, quadrograph.
Come on. Oh.
No, sorry, guys.
That's all right. We were wrong together.
It is an octograph.
Octograph.
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't that fun?
Octo stands for what? 6 or 8?
8.
8, huh? Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there'd be 8 tips, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
If I would have had
5,
time
6,
to count
7,
them,
8.
I probably would have got it right.
Yeah. So do you know? So here's a little interesting trivia for you. In music, how well do you guys know musicology?
She's actually learning about it.
I'm learning it, but I don't know a whole lot yet.
That would be considered the sharp symbol.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, originally it was something a little different. I can't remember exactly what it was, but in the Catholic Church said you could not play certain notes in the sanctuary because certain notes were evil.
Yeah.
What?
Like sharp notes, for instance. Okay. So what they did was, in order to play them, they took 4 crosses and combined them into what is now the sharp symbol. 4 crosses, and then they said, "Now you can play them."
So why is the
That's so weird.
why are
to me.
certain shapes or whatever or sounds evil? What they say?
Would sound ominous, probably.
Ominous. Okay.
Like I don't know, kind of a weird sounding thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now it's a hashtag.
Now it's a hashtag.
Everybody uses it now.
What's that say? Well, being an ex-dope fiend, where I go. Hashtag.
Hashtag.
And then the flat symbol used to look like a square B, but they said, nah, can't play that either. You got to soften it. So they softened the B. And so the flat symbol is kind of a soft edge.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, there's a little more to it than that, but that's
Right.
a user-friendly
That's kinda like the
explanation.
basic. Gotcha.
There you go. There's a little Take 12 trivia there.
Nice.
Okay, we'll be back right after this, and we're going to share your guys' story of experience, strength, and hope. Don't go away. As men and women in recovery, we are now making better choices for ourselves and our families. One of those choices is choosing the right life insurance policy. But with so many companies clamoring for our attention, it can be difficult to know who to trust. That's why I want to tell you about the Madison Agency in Albany, Oregon, an independent insurance broker who has scoured the industry to find the best insurance companies to work with based on price and quality of customer service. I sat down with Ryan Madison, the CEO, to ask him this question. Ryan, can you tell me why it is important for people not to wait any longer to get life insurance?
It's important not to wait to buy life insurance because your rates to get into a new plan increase the older you get, and your health tends to go down the older you get. So by acting now, we're able to lock in a low rate for you that will never go up for your entire life.
The Madison Agency. I trust them with my policy, and so can you. For guaranteed life insurance at an extremely affordable rate, regardless of pre-existing health conditions, addiction issues, or alcoholism, visit themadisonAgency.com. That's themadisonAgency.com. Or call 541-706-0189. That's 541-706-0189.
This is Ryan Huber, and you're listening to the recovery talk and positive music of Take 12 Recovery Radio.
All right, welcome back to the show. My guest for this episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show.
Yep.
You need to do a show with me every week. That'd be great.
He's a natural.
So is Jordon that just said what?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
So wouldn't it be nice if he said that every time you asked him to do something?
Right.
Oh, man.
He does. He's like, what?
The whole atmosphere of our household would change.
Yeah.
Jordon and Brandy Thorn is my guest today on this episode of Take 12 Recovery Radio. Listen, you can follow us on Instagram. Just go to the little Take 12 Radio thing on Instagram, how that works. You can follow us on all social media. I guess Instagram is the new big thing now. Facebook's going out, Instagram's coming in, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I can't keep up. But we're on all social media platforms, all over the place.
Hey, Monty, do you Snapchat?
Do I Snapchat?
Please tell me you Snapchat, bro.
I don't think I do.
I can already imagine Monty using the filters.
Well, that's with all the, you put the bunny ears on.
Yeah, exactly. Or the dog face.
Or the dog face. Some people don't need a filter. They already look that way.
Oh, dang, burn.
We know some friends that we could probably, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Or should we?
Yeah.
KYLE Thompson. Okay.
KT.
We love you, KT. That was inappropriate. Anyway.
Was it Easter we spent with KYLE Thompson and his wife?
Yeah.
Oh, did you? What fun!
It
That must have
was.
been
Yeah, we
fun.
went over. She makes good food.
The thing is, we went to my family's first, so we
Right.
ate a lot. Then we went there,
And ate even more.
and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to eat more. Catherine is an awesome cook.
Oh,
You lucked out, Kyle.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, they're a great couple. What a great team. What a great guy. And in fact, if it wasn't for Kyle, I would never have come back and worked for Teen Challenge and met the people that I met. He's the one that got me into that. Said, "Come on back, let's do this thing." So that was a true blessing. Well, Brandy, when you were on the show before, you guys weren't together, were you?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, so
Not yet.
a couple of years ago, Brandy was here in the studio when we were doing the Teen Challenge Good News Report.
Mm-hmm.
And it was short-lived, and it just wasn't the right timing. And that was a couple of years ago, but you were here as one of our guests.
Yeah.
So kind of take us through what was going on before you got into recovery. I mean, you're looking pretty doggone good right now. Maybe not so much earlier on in your life, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of crazy. Actually, the further I get away from it, it's almost harder to even rehash the memories.
It's like, who was that woman?
Yeah, because
right?
I get further away from that person that was just doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And we live a pretty normal life, so it's kind of hard to even fathom that
imagine
that I was ever actually there. Almost feels like a dream, except for more like a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, basically I was hooked on heroin and meth occasionally, but mostly heroin, and it was just kind of like my day-to-day thing that I did every single day.
How did that start for you? Were you dabbling in pills, or?
Yeah, pretty much. It started with painkillers. Someone gave me some morphine and some OxyContin,
Right.
and it was kind of, I had, experimented with other drugs and whatnot, but that was the one that I immediately just fell in love with. And
Right.
it was almost like, it's kind of weird to say, it was almost kind of like a romance story that had begun.
I understand.
And it just didn't end for a really long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So how long were you doing that before it kind of took its toll on you and bit you in the blessed assurance?
Let's see. I was using as a whole for about 10 years.
Wow.
I had some on and off moments where it's like, okay, I had 90 days here, almost a year here, but I really hadn't changed my thinking to where I was walking out recovery. I was still kind of like an addict, but that was abstaining from drugs, but I was still thinking the same, if that makes any sense.
You bet.
It wasn't until that I really changed this last time that I kind of like ditched all the old mindsets and became a new person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So did you have any kind of spiritual base in your family growing up? Any kind of faith-based kind of raising? Or,
No.
So that wasn't in the picture at the time.
At the time, it wasn't. A pretty tragic event for my family happened when I was, I don't know exactly what age. I want to say 19, 20.
Right.
But my brother had committed suicide.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And so my parents started going to church, my mom going back to church from when she was younger, and she kind of started inviting us, like, hey, come to church. And I was like, no, I don't want to unless it's for me, like that type of thing.
Sure.
And eventually I just went, which kind of led me to asking God if he was real, because I didn't want to, like, accept something that I didn't believe in, or like, oh, this person says he's real, so he's real,
So you weren't going to do it just for the sake of doing it.
I wanted to know for real.
You wanted to know for real.
Yeah, I didn't want to just follow a bunch of people, basically.
Did you think people were crazy? Did you think it was kind of cult-like maybe a little bit? Or
I don't know if cult-like was the mindset that I had.
Yeah.
I just felt it was weird. Like, I think at that point in my life, I was kind of superficial and it was a little too deep for me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because, my day-to-day life was pretty simple. I got up, I got high, I went to bed.
That was your job.
Yeah, that was all I did.
Yeah.
So to think about anything else that was greater than myself, that a higher power, something spiritual, was really kind of like out of my realm of thinking at the time. So when I did it, I really didn't expect anything to happen. And
right.
And then, but God's faithful. He revealed himself.
Did you come to an understanding later on, though, that you really did believe in a higher power, and it was called the drugs? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they were kind of calling the shots, weren't they?
I would say that I put my faith in drugs.
Yeah.
I don't know, calling it a higher power.
No, I'm just talking about how we kind of relate. I mean, we kind of let it take over.
Oh no, it definitely took over.
Yeah.
It was its own monster.
Yeah, so it becomes a power greater than us.
Yeah.
It's not the higher power.
Right.
But it does become a power greater than us because we're its slave, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's good.
I could relate to that, definitely, for sure.
So was there an event that took place that was like the key turning point for you?
Well, I have a couple because my story is a little broken up, so
Sure.
it's kind of hard to even tell. But the moment that God revealed himself to me was pretty supernatural. So I was just in a really low place, and it was right after my brother had killed himself. And I was like, all right, God, like, I need to know you're real, and I need you to reveal this to me. And if you don't, then I'm going to kill myself too, because if there's no purpose, then there's no reason to be here.
Gotcha.
So it was literally like the very next day, I went to the bank to cash my paycheck, and it was like my last paycheck. I'd gotten fired, from another job.
Right.
And I had gone over to a dealer's house right after that, and just to pick up some cocaine. And I put down, like, it was weird. It was like last minute, I go, I want $20 more worth. I put the $20 bill down, and it says on the $20 bill that I got from the bank, repent now, Jesus is coming. And then I had like this warm, supernatural like warmth go from like my head to my toes.
Wow.
And I'm like sitting in this drug room, and I'm telling everyone, I'm like, you guys, God just revealed himself to me. And they're like, okay, you're a little high.
Yeah, do a little too much there.
Totally. They're like, okay,
some
just
good
go
stuff.
sit down. But no, he, like, in that moment, it was like I knew that God was real. And I got that money from the bank, and they don't even hand out money with writing on it.
That's especially that much or that.
Yeah, I mean, it was covered. It wasn't like this little scribble they missed.
Wow.
So, and then even learning that later, it was just it was definitely a come to Jesus moment, I guess. So
after that had happened, let's fast forward to when you got into the Teen Challenge program. Mm-hmm. What introduced you to that?
To Teen Challenge?
Yeah.
I had a few people in my life say that I should go to Teen Challenge.
Right.
One of them was my probation officer. Another one was the parents of someone that I had graduated a different rehab with. Mm-hmm. And then I think and my parents as well. And they were all telling me I should go to Teen Challenge, but none of them really knew each other. So I had like all these voices telling me about Teen Challenge, and I never heard of it before. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should look into this. But I was actually really closed-minded to it at first. And I was in jail, and my mom was talking to me about the program on the phone. I was like, I'm not going there. Like, I don't need help, blah, 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 all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I go and I pick up a book from the rec yard, and I didn't even read the back of it. I just kind of liked the title. It's called The Cross and the Switchblade.
Imagine that. The number 2 most read book in institutions today. Number 1's the Bible. Cross and the Switchblade's number 2, and 7 times 70 is number 3.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was about Teen Challenge. So I come back, I read this book, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like everything that I want now.
Right.
So my heart had softened, and I asked one of the guards, I'm like, hey, do you guys have the applications for Teen Challenge? And he was actually a guard that it's funny, I actually knew him before I got into all the drug stuff.
Right.
He also went to the same church as me, and normally it takes quite a while for them to get back to you because they don't really, they're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
He was back in like 3 minutes. He had the application. I sent it to my PO. I got out. I was just super highly motivated to get in the program. So I rallied up my own sponsors. I had a lot of people in my corner. And it was just something I sat actually in NA meetings all day, from morning to evening until I got into the program.
Yeah. Good for you.
And
Good for you.
I haven't gone back.
Wow. Yeah. What a great story. I mean, it's obviously, when God connects the dots like that.
Yeah.
You can't deny it.
It's undeniable.
You can argue with him.
Right.
You can run from him. You can run to him. You can respond and all, but you can't deny it.
Yeah, for sure.
And what's great about your story, and we're gonna hear Jordan's here in a minute too, is that that's your experience and nobody can argue with it.
Yeah, exactly. No
Right.
one can take it away. No one can argue with it. No one can say it's not real.
And so then you went through the program. So you went through a year.
A little more.
A little more than a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had a 15-month student program, and I did about 9 months of the internship.
Gotcha.
So I was there for a while.
Right.
It was a good foundation builder to
yeah.
get out into the real world again.
And so that faith-based recovery foundation has built really a nice structure for you to stand on, right, in your relationship with God now, because we know, I mean, even in the secular 12-step world, the bottom line is your problem is that you're powerless and you need a power. They'll all admit that.
Yeah.
Now, they may argue about who that power is,
Right.
but they all agree that left to your own devices, you're kind of a mess.
For sure.
And you can't fix yourself. And so now you have this power in your life, and you have a power to tap into to do for you what you cannot do for yourself, and you lean on him.
Right.
And now you're living a life where you're serving him, and things aren't perfect. I can say that because it just isn't with any of us, right?
For sure.
But your outlook is totally different than if you were sticking a needle in your arm or popping pills or all that kind of stuff,
different.
right?
Yeah, completely different.
So much so that you said your own word, you look back and you go, who was that person?
I mean, even from the last time that I was sitting here with you,
right?
It's almost harder to remember certain details.
Is that right?
Because
That's cool.
During that time, I was in Teen Challenge and I was constantly telling my story.
Right.
And so I was kind of in the habit of doing so. And it's kind of been a while. So,
yeah.
I mean, at least on a...
it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
But it's cool. I mean, we're just
cool.
constantly changing into like a new transformation.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Jordon. Yay. Yes.
Get
right,
excited.
Jordon? Yeah. All right, don't go away, my friends. We don't want you to go away because Jordan's going to share his experience, strength, and hope. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how they met and all that kind of good stuff. So listen to this. And now, here's Pastor Johnny Baker for Celebrate Recovery.
Celebrate Recovery is for all of us because we've all been hurt and we've all hurt other people. We've all got things in our lives that keep us stuck and keep us frozen, things we wish we didn't deal with. And for many of us, we have these addiction issues that also just rob us of any joy or peace that we have in our life. The thing about Celebrate Recovery is that it's a biblical program and it's got 8 principles that lead us from one place to the next place over one day at a time after one day at a time. So we begin where we realize that we're not God. We come out of denial. We face our fears. We face the problems that have keeping us stuck. We turn our lives over to Jesus. We do things like taking a moral inventory of our lives and we look at all the things that we've done have been done to us to help us come out of that. We talk to other people about what's happening. Then, at the end, we serve other people because we believe that God uses our pain so that we can help other people when they go through pain.
To locate Celebrate Recovery in your area, visit CelebrateRecovery.com.
Hey guys, this is Richie Supa, and you are listening to Take12Radio.com, recovery talk and positive music.
We all make mistakes sometimes, and we've all stepped across that line, but nothing's sweeter than the day we find.
All right, welcome back to the show. You've tuned into the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show, the world's first and original faith-based 12-step focused recovery radio program. And Jordan says,
Yep.
That's right. Well, we just spoke to Brandy Thorn, and now it's Jordon Thorn's turn. Jordan, what was going on, man? You were not doing too well either at one point, right?
No, far from it, bro. Far from doing well. Actually doing very bad.
So what was going on, bud?
I mean, like, how did I come to Christ, or just?
Yeah, well, I mean, what got you going sideways?
I was a meth head, bro. I kind of was just lost. Grew up in a broken household.
Yeah.
My mom was in my life until I was about 4, and from there, like, she was kind of disappeared. And so we grew. I was raised by my dad, and my dad ended up meeting my stepmom, and I used to get bullied in school, used to get picked on, and then just got to a point when I was probably like 10 or 11. And I remember a switch went off on me where I was like, I'm done taking this, and started fighting back. And after that, it was just all out.
Yeah.
Kind of found my identity and getting in trouble, committing crime, rebelling, just being that kid.
So some people would have maybe gone into construction and buried themselves in that. Some people may have gone into mechanics. Some people may have gone into whatever. There are people that are what I call makeup spenders. They're shopping addicts.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
well, I deserve this. So, are you one of those? Why did you go towards methamphetamine?
I mean, it started with plenty of. I mean, I did all the other drugs before that and stuff like that. But I think just the intenseness of it and the kind of. I mean, I already kind of found like an identity and an attraction to committing crime and kind of being that guy. So I think that was just definitely like kind of the supplement that that definitely would take me to the next level of that.
So that made you 10 feet tall and bulletproof?
That's how I felt. Yeah, and the people I surrounded myself around.
Right.
And the older cast I was attracted to being around because I mean, I had a dad, but he wasn't really a father figure. He wasn't different in other ways, but he didn't teach me anything. He didn't teach me how to work. He never held a steady job, didn't teach me discipline, blah, blah. And so I saw these older cats that could teach me something. And so that's what kind of attracted me to it.
So even though they were dysfunctional, even though they weren't healthy to be around, there was something they had that you were looking for. And
they
that
could
was some
show me
guidance.
something. Yeah.
There was some guidance there. Maybe not the right kind, but guidance nevertheless.
Yeah.
There was a camaraderie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There was a feeling of belonging.
Yeah.
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 Which is some of the stuff that you were lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long did that go on for?
So I would say, I mean, the first time I used meth, I was 14, and I was in and out of the juvenile system. I was in foster care. I went town to town throughout the state, all the way down to Eastern Oregon, all the way down to Portland, Eugene, in different foster cares and treatment centers, and I ended up doing 2.5 years in a youth prison. And I got out, and a month before I got out, my best friend was murdered. And
oh boy.
I got out, got with this girl, moved down to North Carolina, and when I came back from North Carolina, because things didn't really work out like that, I kind of went down the deep end, and that's when I started using meth again. And from there, it was just all in. I didn't have no place to go, nowhere to live. And so I went to the streets, and you know what that comes with.
Sure.
Going there.
18 years I lived on the streets. And I thought it was romantic.
Right?
There was a romance about it. There was a mystique about it. I would listen to Tom Petty sing Free Fallin', and I'd go, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I would use my meth to that song.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing. I didn't, but
it made me feel so important.
That's probably another generation, but yeah.
Right. But you know, there's an you know it's wrong, you know it's sick, you know it's unhealthy, you know it's going to kill you, but there's an attraction
But
to
you keep
it.
doing
You
it.
fall in love with it.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so was it the rush of the methamphetamine that really got you hooked the first time?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think once I came back from North Carolina, I mean, obviously I love the high.
Right.
But what was even better about it is it took me away from my problems. I was so distracted. It gave me a lifestyle that I could be so distracted with that I wouldn't have to face reality and see where I'm at today.
And so that was even more important than the high, right?
Yeah, because I didn't have to. I mean, the thought that, oh, I'm 20 with no place to go, no job, no car, nothing to show for myself.
Sure.
I was like, well, I don't got that, but I got this, and this keeps me distracted, and I can definitely build a record and have a rap sheet here on these streets.
Right,
So,
right. So dysfunctional maybe, but real.
Yeah.
When did it bite you in the rear end? When was enough?
I was 21. See, it kind of, I mean, bro, it seems like it lasted a lot longer than it did. I swear to you, bro.
I get that. I get that.
And I'm like, yeah, I was in and out of like juvenile centers, blah, blah, did my time, foster homes, blah, blah, was on the streets. But I look at her, she had like 10 years now. I'm like, I didn't have that much time, but I swear I don't know if like I was just always in the wrong place at the wrong time,
right?
Or what it was. But I seen some stuff out there, bro, like people getting murdered, blah blah, and I'm like, how did all this happen in such a short amount of time?
Mm-hmm.
And I look at how many mug shots I have and how much I was in even county, and I'm like, did I have any time out of county? Like, was I ever free for that long?
Yeah,
you know. So I don't. So I was 21 when it happened, and I would say probably like the big thing happened was I tried to commit suicide. I've been on paper probably since I was like 12, 13 all my life.
Wow.
And I was off for a month, and I caught some new robbery and breaking and entering charges, blah, blah. And I remember the cops surrounded me at this girl's house. We were downstairs in the back smoking a cigarette. And this cop walked on me with a dog, a canine. And he was like, Jordon and Thorn, you're being arrested for multiple burglaries and other warrants here in Marion County. You know why I'm here. He's like, let's do this the easy way. I stood there staring at him, and I looked left and right. And he was like, we're about to do this the hard way, huh? Exact words. I dashed in the house, closed the door on the dog before it could get me. I go to head out the front door, and they already had a whole squad of cops blocking off the street. And so I closed the door, run upstairs, call my dad. I told him I was going to kill myself before he could say anything.
Wow.
I hung the phone up, and I went to the girl's bathroom, and I grabbed her shaving razor, and I started hacking at my skin. And I was so dehydrated from the meth that I couldn't hit a vein. That was honestly probably God saving me. And
you couldn't hit a vein while you were cutting, you mean?
Yeah, well, I was like, man, where's like, can I start bleeding my guts out or something? And it just wouldn't happen. So I stuck my hand in my pocket, and I realized I actually had a knife in my hand. So I tried cutting it that way, but it just wouldn't happen. By that time, the rush had gone down. So I stuck my head out the window, and I told the cops, I'll come down if you give me a cigarette and a cup of water.
Did he give you a cigarette and a cup of water?
Yeah, but one of the cops like knocked the cigarette out of my mouth while I was cut.
Well, we gave it to you, and we took it away.
Yeah, right. And so I went to jail that time. I ended up getting out 3 months later. And by that time, I was like begging for a change. But I got out, and I was back on the streets, had nowhere to go. And so I went back to like the dope house, blah, blah. And I remember from that point, like that month that I was out, I was like doing anything I could to try to get in the teen challenge, but I had nowhere to go. So I was moving house to house, didn't have a phone. So I was hard to get in contact with.
So you were in the process of trying to get in, but
I was trying to. That's a story in itself. I don't know if you want me to tell how I ended up getting in the teen challenge or finding out about it. But I remember being at this dope house, and this song came on that reminded me of my dad that he would play sometimes. I remember growing up always liking it. It was a Cyndi Lauper song, Time After Time.
Oh, yeah?
And I don't even like that type of music, right? But that song, for some reason, growing up, I liked it. And it just reminded me of my dad. And a point in time in my life where I had a home, I had covering, I was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, life was kind of carefree.
Right.
I remember breaking down when I heard that song. I went into the bathroom and just cried out to God. I was like, Jesus, just take me, show yourself to me. Like, seriously, I'm so I was trying to be a tough guy, but I was in the bathroom crying, like looking in the mirror, and I was just sick of it. And then I calmed down. I walked outside to smoke a cigarette, and I blacked out for like, I don't know how long. And I ended up on this, like a neighbor's yard or something with cops standing over me.
Oh boy.
They're like, so are you, and I don't remember going to this or doing this at all, but they're like, so you didn't just flip off these people while you were peeing in their yard? And I was looking at the cops, and I was like, no, I don't remember this at all.
Right.
And but when I remember when I woke up and I got into the cop car, I felt a sense of freedom, like I had finally been freed. I knew I was going to go to Teen Challenge. I remember yelling at the cop in the back of the cop car. I was like, you don't understand. I've been freed. Like Jesus saved me. Like my life's no longer going to be the same. I know the cop thought I was crazy because he just kind of stayed quiet and was like,
yeah, whatever, bud.
But like, I knew from there I was freed.
Right.
And I knew it was once I called out God by his name, by Jesus, because I remember being in the bathroom crying like, Jesus saved me. Like I knew I had been freed, and like there was this huge weight off my shoulder. I knew I was going to Teen Challenge. I remember even being in the jail, and it wasn't even for certain. Like I was supposed to go upstate,
right?
And I remember like we were trying to get me into Teen Challenge. I remember being on the phone with my aunt, and I was just telling her, like, I don't got nothing to worry about because I'm going to Teen Challenge. Like, you don't get it. Like, and I just remember her being on the other side of the phone, just kind of quiet, like, I've heard this 1,000 of times. You're going to change. And I remember saying, and you can ask her, I was, like, yelling at her on the phone. I was like, no, Tita, which is aunt in Filipino.
Okay.
I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm changed. And she's like, okay. I was like, no, like, you don't get it. I'm going to Teen Challenge, and I'm never going back to jail. And, like, you guys don't got to worry about me anymore. Like, I'm free. And I just said that, like, a 10-minute phone call, trying to convince her.
Wow.
And ever since then, like, I ended up going to Teen Challenge, and my whole life's been changed since then.
So is she still with you? Is she still alive today?
My aunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she brings it up all the
She's
time.
awesome.
She'll joke about it. She'll be like, yeah, I remember being on the phone with Jordon, the 1,000th phone call in jail, him talking about how he was going to change. But this time he was yelling at me over the phone, telling me, no, you don't understand. I'm going to change. Like,
and so now does she understand?
And it actually happened. Yeah. And they didn't believe
great.
it until they,
right.
The first time they had actually seen me in Teen Challenge was at the shindig.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember them driving past me because I put on some weight and actually looked healthy.
Right.
And they didn't even recognize me. I was like, Tita. And they stood there staring at me like
who's
that
this?
guy?
Yeah.
I was dressed up like a cowboy. So,
right.
Yeah. But, like, they tell me, like, that's when they realized, like, okay. This
That's so
is
cool.
completely, because there was life in my eyes. You know what I'm saying?
That is that is an awesome story, man.
But I had actually found out about Teen Challenge because my best friend, the one that was murdered, he
right.
After he got murdered, his family slowly turned their lives over to Christ.
Oh my
And they
goodness.
would always minister to me. And I would say to this day that it was not them pushing Jesus on me, but them showing me Jesus through their love and actually being there for me.
Sure.
And having my back and picking me up when I needed them and just, like, loving on me, not giving me that religious crap like save and repent, you're going to hell, but instead like there's love.
Just being the hands and feet of Jesus, and not being that
showing love.
preacher Bible thumping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, God's love. And we're going to show that to you because just like Jesus is always there for you, we're always there for you. And that's because I had nobody in my life anymore. My family had disowned me, wouldn't answer my phone calls, blah, blah. And they were still there. So they actually it was Kyle Thompson's first itineration as outreach coordinator.
Yeah.
He went to what ended up later on being my home church. It's not really anymore, but that's besides the point. The People's Church in Salem.
Right.
He went and did his first itineration there. And Corey Cunningham was sharing his story. Rest in peace. He was sharing his story
Bless
there.
his heart. Yeah.
And my dead best friend's sister, his name was David. She was there, and she heard about, like, she was like, Jesus instantly spoke to her and told her that I was supposed to go to Teen Challenge.
Right.
I remember being in jail and getting out and just getting blown up with messages from her saying, like, hit me up. I know where you're supposed to go.
I could see it too.
Yeah, and
so cool.
And what do you know? I ended up going to Teen Challenge, and
here we are.
Yeah.
And here you are sitting in the world's only faith-based recovery radio station, sharing your story.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody had told you that all this stuff was going to happen, several years ago, you'd have probably laughed them out of the room, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I kind of thought I was destined to that life, like to be that guy who's just going to be in and out of prison all his life.
Right.
And I remember even like when I was doing my time, telling my family that, like, you guys don't got to worry about me because this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And what do you know? I'm like far from that now.
Right.
Because now,
oh my goodness.
now I feel weird even telling people how I used to be, like getting into depth detail, because I'm like, you guys aren't going to believe me. Because
Right.
I mean, but if you look at my mugshots and just like the
He doesn't even look
my
the same.
my demeanor, the way I held myself.
I've seen his mugshot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way different.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a whole different spirit or a whole different.
It
life.
is.
It is. No,
It
it
is.
totally is.
Absolutely. And so it's important for people to understand that there's hope in hopelessness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's in the mess, there is a message.
Yeah.
Right? And that is no one is too far gone.
Right.
No one can go deep enough into the fathoms of sin.
Yeah.
Right? That God can't reach him.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
Lots of times people won't respond, but God can reach. It doesn't matter.
But it took me forever to respond. You know what I'm saying? Like it took.
But it took what it took.
Yeah, but they still stuck and they still showed love and there was no condemnation, no push. Like, And that's kind of like why I'm so like I want to be so effective out there on the streets,
Right.
because that homeless man that looks like he lost his mind,
Yeah.
that was me in so many ways. You know what I'm saying? And that person might be somebody's father, somebody's kid, somebody's uncle, cousin. That, you know what I'm saying? They want to see that person come back, and
Yeah.
Jesus is the only hope for that.
Yeah,
because I lost my mind. I remember running from shadows for hours, thinking people were after me.
Oh yeah,
and stuff.
I get it.
Yeah.
I called the local police on the FBI. I was in Houston, Texas. I said, "You got to come out here, man. There's FBI agents all around my house."
I didn't run from the shadows. I joined them.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. People swore you were too.
I know.
We were too far gone.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
But it's so weird because I swear, I mean, even with his story, but my story too, it's like when there was that switch, there was that switch and there was no, like my mind was made up. Like I was done.
Yeah.
And it was just weird how fast it happened. I literally woke up one day. I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
Sure.
Like it's too much. It's too tiring. I'm drained.
I hear you.
I'll tell you like this, man. Jesus is the only thing that can save. Because I called out to many things, many idols, many other things to try to save me, and it wasn't until I called out to Jesus was I free. And it's kind of like, for example, I think it's Elijah in the Bible that goes against. I forget who. I think
it goes against the idols.
The Baal,
says,
Baal, like the worshippers of Baal, and was
Right.
like, "Yo, call your God and tell him to set fire on this, and let's see whose God actually answers."
Right.
And I called out to Jesus, and he
Jesus
answered me.
answered, yeah.
No, nothing else answered.
Yeah.
Nothing else fulfilled me. Nothing else saved me.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. And we have a lot of people that listen to our programs that aren't Christians. And we're glad, that's wonderful. We want them to listen. And we never shove it down anybody's throat. But our testimony is our testimony.
Right. Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, in Christianity, you have the person of Jesus Christ compared to all other faiths across the globe is the only one that claims to be God in the flesh.
Yeah.
None of the other ones even claim that.
Yeah.
Now there are people that say they think they are, but then them in the writings and what you would consider sacred scriptures
Right.
of the other doctrines and faiths, and so none of them do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of them do. Only Jesus does.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, why would I want second best?
Yeah. It's a pretty bold claim.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? And so I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not perfect. I definitely got my shortcomings where I slip up and stuff like that, but I'm not the same man.
Well, you
Just
do.
end of
When we
story.
mess up, we don't mess up the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never, people would say, I remember in some of the 12-step rooms I've been in, I've heard it a million times, recovery will mess up your drinking. Recovery will mess up your using. Well, relationship with God, it'll
We'll
mess
mess up
everything
everything
up.
Yeah.
Right? And it'll change you.
Yeah.
I am telling you, it is the most wonderful thing. What used to be like, what is that phrase? I go after it like it's a diamond instead of an old shoe.
Yeah.
Your outlook, the way you see things,
Yeah.
what once was confusing, now you intuitively know how to handle it. I mean,
The fight's so much more worth it when you know God.
It is.
It
It's
is.
purposeful too.
And like,
very purposeful.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
Let's talk about how you guys met.
Let's do it.
Okay,
So let's
who
just-
wants to start with
Let's
that?
start this out. She was scoping me out the whole program.
Oh, he says that every time. Every time.
Okay.
We actually
pride and ego is still a deal going on over
here. We actually didn't communicate during the program. We didn't have any like secret notes going on,
Right.
like any of that type of thing. It wasn't until we both graduated that I think I hit him up first on Facebook, said, "Oh, hey, congratulations," and he's like, "Oh, by the way, your spoken word was cool." And like we just kind of started talking on Messenger.
So there was no flirtation going on previous to that at all?
No.
Did either one of you have any kind of like a fleeting thought of, I might like to get to know him, or I might like to get
I
to know
was
her?
so focused on like just changing. Like I
Right.
kind of saw all these other people getting in trouble for stupid things.
Right.
And I'm like, I just don't want to go down that road right now. I mean,
Yeah.
I had spent way too long going through other rehabs and stuff that I'm like, it has to work this time.
Wow. So this was all just kind of evolved after graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like to be humble. I kind of did, but but honestly, I didn't really know it well enough. And like through Facebook, it kind of seemed like it was completely off limits. So I was like, and I mean, I didn't want to ruin her internship. I know what the rules are for an internship,
Right.
so I would have never crossed those lines.
Right, right.
Yeah, I said
doesn't mean that the fleeting thought isn't there, you know. But okay, so you graduated.
Yep, graduated the student part.
Yeah, we graduated the same month.
So what did the first date, outing, whatever it is you went on, what did that look like? What was that? How did that transpire?
You gotta think it was a little bit special because she was still an intern.
We got permission to talk 3 days a week.
Interns aren't supposed to. So you probably know this, Monty, but like interns are not allowed to be in relationships. Right? Or barely even talk to the other sex, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And like, but because they had seen how well I was doing out there, and I'm assuming because Brandy's got favor by God, I'm playing. But no, because she had done so good on her internship or something. I don't know what they decided.
Well, I just didn't have a issue with like flirting with guys like in my past.
Yeah, so the red flags weren't going up for them.
So like the one thing that never happens in Teen Challenge, God kind of opened the door, and we actually got permission by the directors from the Men and Women's Center to talk to each other. I wasn't doing an internship. I actually just went out straight up and just lived life.
Right.
So, yeah, we had 3 days a week. We were allowed to talk on the phone through Messenger. And the first time we hung out was actually at Spiritual Emphasis.
Okay.
So it was super awkward.
Wow. So that was not the last one, but the one before that?
I think the one before that.
The one before that, right.
Yeah. It's been a while. Dang.
It has, yeah.
That was my first introduction to Cameron Avery.
He's a good guy.
Because he had graduated.
Yeah.
And he just shows up, in Spokane, Washington at Spiritual Emphasis. He just shows up. And here, I never seen this guy before.
Yeah.
I think he was in the band program at that time.
And I think you're right. And he comes up to me. I don't even know him. And he gives me a big kiss on the face.
Yep.
And he goes, "I love you, man." And he goes, "Oh, I don't know you."
That's so classic Cameron Avery right
Cameron.
there.
That's just him. He's great. He's
I
awesome.
love Cameron.
Is he in Salem?
He was. Just pray for him.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
I
he
love
is.
that guy.
He's a good
got
friend of
heart
ours.
gold.
Yeah, I actually hung out with him a lot while he was in Salem.
Yeah. So you go on a date?
I would say our actual real first hanging out, like by ourselves.
Yeah.
So there was a worship night. She was still in her internship, but a worship night at Life Bible Church.
Okay.
And it was Rick Pino, and she got permission to go, and I went there also. And that's also where we had our first kiss at.
It was at Life Bible.
Yeah.
In Harrisburg?
Yeah.
Okay.
I took her out.
So now we know the place.
I took her out back just to show her how beautiful it was out back, and
so it sounded a little sketchy here, buddy.
I know. My heart was pure. I like good scenery. I'm a big fan. So why would I not share?
No, we went to that worship night, and it's kind of funny because we one of the songs that was played at that worship night was played at our wedding, and I walked down the aisle to.
Wow.
And then we recently got to see Rick Pino again, and he prayed over our marriage and prophesied over us.
Yeah, how special is that, right?
So that was cool because we got to meet him face to face, and we're like, hey, we used your song in our wedding, and
he's going, kick down the royalties, man.
He's actually a real cool guy, honestly.
Yeah, he's like, let me pray for you guys. Like,
That's
you guys
neat.
are awesome.
Yeah.
So
he's so approachable, which is kind of rare sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
I found that out about Matthew West.
Oh,
He's
that's
just
cool.
He's just a guy,
Yeah.
I think he actually has connections with Teen Challenge. Like, didn't your story or something end up in his...
Yeah, Matthew West, he was asking for testimonies.
Oh, yeah, he is very, very in touch with Teen Challenge. Even the whole song, Hello, My Name is about a Teen Challenge.
I never knew he used my story, though, because I was a student when I sent it in. And then, like, 2 years later on Facebook, I got this message from this guy that was like, hey, my son found your story on the ground, like, on a flyer.
And that was Joe, his dad?
Well, no, it was just some random person.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't even remember what state. And he was like, hey, my son found your story. Matthew West used it. It was on one of his flyers. And I just want to let you know it blessed me. And so I thought that was cool because I'm like,
that's amazing.
It came at like right at a moment where I needed like some encouragement. And it was such a perfect.
As Jordon would say, yep.
Yep.
You guys, we are just about out of time. We have a closing song, but so the listeners know you ended up getting engaged.
Yep.
You got married.
We're married now.
We had a very rocky start at the beginning, but God's definitely done a lot of healing, and I was pretty unhealthy, and God's definitely done a work in that. Sure.
Well, and just because we get clean and or sober
doesn't
mean that we're all well yet.
Doesn't mean we don't got problems,
right?
I didn't even know I had these problems until I got into a relationship neither. So,
well, more will be revealed.
More. We have our whole lives.
You guys, thank you for coming and doing this.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
This has been a hoot. I know. I told her. I said, "You got an open invitation." The guy, she goes, "Really?" Well, yeah.
It's awesome.
You guys are a kick.
Well, we love the Monty'man, so
yay!
Yeah, this was fun.
It has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is this all points to the God who is God.
Amen.
And there's a lot of substitutes out there, but I want the real deal.
One real guy.
All right. My guests have been Jordon and Brandy Thorn, living in Salem currently. Correct.
Moving to Eugene on the 5th.
Moving to Eugene.
Eugene.
Yeah, you're still going to be local.
Yeah, pretty much.
So thank you guys so very much. Listen, our email address is take12radio@comcast.net. You can download our app for Podomatic on Android or iOS. Just go to take12radio.com on your internet dial, and you can access our YouTube, our Instagram, our Facebook, our iTunes, all that stuff. And we have, here's a great word for you guys. We have a plethora of recovery-focused shows for you. Our closing song is called Make Me New by the group After the Chase.
Twisted I am, turning like a vine, waiting for water, reaching to the sky, 'cause the well I drink from keeps on running dry, and I just want to feel alive. Make me new, make me whole, send new life flowing to my soul, send a flood, don't let up, till I overflow with you, make me new, turning I am, handing in my life. It's been years since tears flowed from these eyes, 'cause the water I've been drinking leaves me dry, and I just want to feel alive. Make me new, make me whole, send new life flowing to my soul, send a flood, and don't let up, till I overflow with you, make me new. You turn water into wine, and darkness into light, brought the dead back to life. So send your rain, don't let it overwhelm me with the flood. Make me new, make me whole, send new life flowing to
That's After the Chase. Visit their website at afterthechase.com for more great God-glorifying music. What a great team. Hey, listen, special thank you to my guests this week, Jordon and Brandy Thorn, for sharing their story of experience, strength, and hope, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today through the power of God through recovery. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty'man, and I am wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.